You know, this is technically my first video talking about my OCs, and it certainly won't be the last. I'm very passionate about my creations. So if you don't know, I've been in a major Fire Emblem phase recently. I've been a fan of this series for 5 years now, though I hadn't invested in it for a good while. Though lately I played through Fate's Conquest for the first time, and right now I'm tackling my first hard mode playthrough on Awakening. But on top of that, I've also been forming a concept for a Fire Emblem fan game, as I tend to do with all the series I love. And for this video, I intend to draw some of the characters from that fan game concept, but with a bit of a twist. You see, not long ago I came across some art from the artist Larachelle, depicting several Fire Emblem protagonists in the uniform of the Officered Academy from Three Houses. I'll put a link to their Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr in the description. I definitely recommend checking out their art. But anyway, seeing that art got me pretty inspired myself. I started thinking, what if I did this for my OCs? What if I took the main characters from my fan game and put them into the Three Houses uniform? I'm a big fan of the uniform's design, and I really like how all of the player units have variations and customizations to their uniform to stand out. Drawing school uniforms like this isn't something I've really done before, but it's something I've been wanting to try for a while, so why not? Let's get going! So this fan game concept of mine currently doesn't have a name. I've really just been referring to it as my Fire Emblem fan game for the last couple of months. And I think the best way to explain it is with the characters, so let's start with our two lords, Cindia and Blaise. While these two aren't our main protagonists, they're definitely some of the most central characters to the story. So these two are the Princess and Prince of Crona Magnus, one of the 3 major kingdoms of this fan game concept. It has a general theme of fire and clocks, and Cindia here is the heir to the throne. Though with their country going to war, Cindia and Blaise openly refuse to participate, and end up gathering allies in a bid to uncover the root of the war. Now to talk about how I translated their designs into 3 houses, starting with Cindia. So the students at the Officers Academy all have the same base uniform, but they do have variations and personal touches to make them stand out from each other. So my goal with this art was to keep consistent with the look and feel of the uniform, while also giving my characters personal touches both to reflect their personality, and to make sure they stand out from the other characters in the uniform. For Cindia, I actually kept pretty faithful to the basic female uniform, the one worn by characters like Ingrid and Sylvain. Cindia is meant to be a responsible and organised person who follows instructions to the letter, so I think it makes sense for her to go for this look. But in terms of personal touches, I did let her keep her diamond earrings. At first, I wasn't sure if they would be allowed in the dress code, but Dorothea does wear earrings, so it's fine. Cindia's boots were in the same style as the ones that most of the students wear, but I added a gold stripe down the front, to match the one on her cannon boots. I also gave her this white scarf, which was meant to match the cape that she wears in her original design. The idea to add this to the design came from Ferdinand's neckerchief thing. Whenever I'm making fan designs that are meant to fit in with an existing property, I always make sure to reference things as best as I can, to ensure that my designs are faithful and convincing. But there is one aspect of the design that I didn't have any references for, and that would be Cindia's hairband. Looking back, the only student to wear anything on their head is Dorothea with her cap. I wanted to give Cindia the hairband to be a substitute for the tiara in her original design. That, and I think it's something that Cindia would wear, of course. But anyway, that's Cindia's design done, and now we're moving on to her younger brother, Blaise. Compared to Cindia being the responsible sort, Blaise is more of a passionate and headstrong character. His original design has the open collar and the rolled up sleeves, which definitely fit that personality while still letting his clothes be regal at a glance. So for his Three Houses design, I knew I wanted to reference Sylvain, who has a similarly casual look with the open jacket and all. Though I didn't want to outright copy his design, so I instead gave Blaise a half-closed jacket, which I thought looked closer to his canon outfit. His original design also has these pieces coming down from the sides of the jacket. I don't know what to call them, despite giving these to so many of my characters, but whatever they are, I added them to Blaise's Academy design as well. Once the sketching and line art was finished, the colouring process was very simple, though I did alter the uniform's colours a bit to match my style and preference. For Cindia's earrings though, I was initially going to keep their purple colour from the original design, but the purple felt like it was too out of place with the uniform, so I changed it to blue to match the tights. Another thing worth mentioning is Blaise's trousers. In the official art, the uniforms are only one shade of grey, but I found that his trousers blended in too much with the side flaps of the jacket, so I made the trousers a lighter grey to create more contrast. That way the art is easier to read. I didn't do any shading for the art in this video, but I did try to do something different with the eyes. Usually I draw my eyes with a double gradient, lighter at the bottom and darker at the top, but this time I tried a more straightforward gradient, similar to what I did in my Korean redraw video. But this time, I also gave the eyes much darker pupils. Usually I make the pupils the same colour as the darker gradient on the eye, but I think that making the pupil darker gives much better contrast, which I do prefer, makes the eyes a bit more striking. But anyway, here's the finished art. I do think Blaise's pose is a little bit awkward, since I've not put much practice into front-on walking poses. But other than that, I really like how this art came out. I'm feeling pretty fired up, so let's move right along to the next character. So the third character I wanted to draw is Raine. They're the main protagonists of this fangame concept and our resident avatar character, which is why I'm doing two designs for the same character. Now story-wise, Raine is the child of the retainer to the Queen of Levantia, the Kingdom of Water. But with the war started by Crona Magnus, Levantia is caught in the crossfire, and now Raine's dad is dead. Because this is Fire Emblem and it's kind of a serious trend for the protagonist to have dead parents. But anyway, Raine meets Cindia and Blaise along the way, and becomes the leader of their little resistance group trying to uncover the truth behind the war. Moving on to their design, Raine's meant to be an informal, freewheeling sort, mostly because we don't get enough of that from Fire Emblem's avatar characters. Most of the avatar characters we have are more of the formal and relaxed sort, with Shez being the most notable exception. And to properly reflect that personality, I wanted to give Raine one of the more casual uniform designs compared to Cindia and Blaise. Now I didn't give Boy Raine and Girl Raine the same uniform, but I did want to keep them pretty similar, since they're two versions of the same character and all. For Boy Raine, I was inspired by Caspar's uniform, with the sleeveless look, though I did want to add some small sleeves to the upper layer, to reference the pauldrons from Raine's original design. As a side note, at one point I was considering giving Boy Raine some shorts, the same ones worn by Ash, my favourite Three Houses character. But I don't think it would have worked with the length of Raine's boots, so I quickly scrapped the idea. Now for Girl Raine's design, I mostly referenced Hilda's outfit. I did still give her the same pauldrons that I gave to Boy Raine, though the execution was a bit different due to the open cut top look. I also did something a bit different with her sleeves, adding these straps halfway up and putting more of the sleeve volume above the straps. This was meant to mimic how the original design has shorter jacket sleeves, without straight up giving her shorter sleeves, since she only has one layer of sleeves in this design. As for the rest of the design, I gave Boy Raine the same side flaps that I gave to Blaise, while Girl Raine got the usual academy skirt. I decided that socks made more sense for her than tights like I gave to Cindia, though the skirt ended up about the same length. It wouldn't have been off-brand to make it shorter, but I'm not a big fan of short skirts, especially in a uniform context. Yes, she's wearing one in her original design, but that's because her legs are already covered. So to finish off Raine's academy uniform, I gave them this diagonal strap that a lot of the students are seen with. I just thought it fit the look, and it felt like something they'd wear. And then I gave them both these high boots that were heavily modelled after their original boots, but with the colours of the uniform. I really enjoy how that crisscrossy pattern on the boots turned out. I tried to give it a similar feel to the other patterns on the uniform. So here we are, here's the finished Raine. I'm not sure whether Boy Raine or Girl Raine is my favourite here, but I really like how they both turned out. More so than Cindia and Blaise actually, but please let me know which design is your favourite in the comments. So there's only one character left to design in this project, and that would be Diane. While she's not a Lord or the Avatar character, she is another central character who kind of completes our protagonist group. Though she's much more of a mystery than the others, hailing from the floating kingdom of Avalon and wanting to show the truth of her kingdom to the surface. I still haven't figured out the story behind all of this. It's not a complete plot by any means. But anyway, Diane's general vibe is the quiet sort. She is the kind of person who'd rather be off to the side by herself than socialising. But regardless, she's a surprisingly observant person, and always seems to know more than you remember telling her. Now when it came to putting her in uniform, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Diane's original outfit was designed more so around her class and her personality. You see, Diane is an evoker, a class that I made up for this fangame, who focuses on summoning magical animals to fight. And for the outfit, I wanted something that gave wandering through the forest vibes. I thought that would be fitting for the class. Plus, it was pretty clear that Diane would hide herself under a hood, given the whole mysterious air. Oh yeah, and she also has a cape. Mostly because Cindia, Blaise and Raine all have capes, and she's one of the main protagonists, so she gets one too, I guess. But anyway, for some context, I actually got the idea for this video from a brief conversation with my good friend Issa, after I'd shown her that crossover art from Larachelle and brought up the idea of doing it with my OCs. she imagined that Diane might go for something similar to Marianne's uniform, with the long dress. I didn't end up making her skirt that long in the end, but I did try to incorporate Marianne's capelet into the design. Though I didn't have a very clear view of it, so I had to guess and it didn't end up very faithful. However, I did try to make it look more like Diane's canon capelet. I also did this with the skirt, giving it a trim and a slight slit on the side, but I did remove that part after I stopped recording. It didn't feel fitting for the Academy's uniform. There are only two other things to note about Diane's uniform. For one, I gave her uniform the same hood worn by Ash and Bernadetta. Since that hood is one of the main features of her original design, I wanted to keep it intact. I also made her boots brown instead of the usual uniform colours, being inspired by Mercedes' boots, to carry another element over from her canon outfit. Now, I'll admit, I have some gripes with the final art. For one, I made her too small. I think it makes more sense for Diane to be around Cindia's height. I did come across other issues with the outfit and the face, like I thought she looked too confrontational, but I did address most of them after I stopped recording. And in the end, I think the outfit does give a bit of that Lone Wanderer vibe that fits Diane. I'm not entirely sure about the trims on the capelet and skirt. They might not fit the Academy style, but you guys can let me know. So here's the finished Diane, our final art of the video. This is the first time drawing her with her hood down. And yes, the bird hair clip is canon. I think if she was in Three Houses it'd make more sense for the hair clips to be gold, but c'est la vie. And here we are! Here are my Fire Emblem OCs drawn in their Academy uniforms for Three Houses. This is a fun video. I really enjoyed applying my OCs to something pre-existing. If you guys are interested, I'd love to make more videos like this. I have a pretty insane number of OCs, both for original stories and for fan stories of the games I like. Introducing them through existing media sounds like a fun way to push more of my original content onto this channel. And hey, I have some other ideas for experimenting with outfit styles from games. I've been thinking of redesigning Xenoblade 2 characters into some of the outfit styles from Xenoblade 1. Stay tuned for whenever I decide to make that a video. And speaking of staying tuned, if you like my art and commentary, then definitely be sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe so you won't miss any future uploads. Oh, and don't forget to leave all of your thoughts in the comments. Tell me which design was your favourite, tell me which houses you think these guys would be in, tell me if you want more, you're more than welcome. I also have an Instagram where I post my art semi-frequently, so be sure to follow me there, link in the description. Oh, and one last thank you to Larachelle who inspired this video's creation in the first place. If you want to check out their art, I have even more links to all of their social medias right there in the description. But anyway, that should be it for this video. Stay hopeful, don't give up on your dreams, use your divine pulse responsibly, and I'll see you next time.